You're well versed in Title 17 and its importance in trial, correct?
Objection compound.
Well, do you understand the question is phrased, sir?
I don't know what he means by
Are you
important.
well versed in Title 17, sir?
Yes, it's technically a compound question. So
I'm pretty good.
Do you understand its importance in trial?
Well, that question assumes it has an importance in trial.
Does it?
It depends. When Title 17 is followed, the prosecutors make it the holy writ. When they don't follow it, they say, oh, that nonsense. That's just a guideline. We don't care. So I don't know what the importance is. I guess it depends on what kind of case you have.
Well, weren't you a DUI attorney for 3 years, a defense attorney?
Yes.
Okay, so wouldn't you have your own understanding of the importance of Title 17?
The importance of Title 17 varies depending on if the prosecutor has compliance, then that's all we care about. If he doesn't have compliance, it's a waste of time. Okay. So the importance varies.
Depending on the evidence?
According to you guys, yes.
Okay. So now, do you think it should be admitted even if Title 17 isn't followed?
Objection, big.
What should be
The
admitted?
pass device, for instance, Your Honor. Do you believe the pass device should not be admitted if it does not follow Title 17?
You understand that question?
I
referring to admitted into evidence at a DUI trial, Mr.
Correct.
Bauer?
Objection, relevance.
But do you understand the question is phrased?
think so.
Let me respond.
Title 17 is very bare bones. If there's any test that does not comply with Title 17, it should not be used as criminal evidence if you can't follow the most basic guidelines.
Yeah. And so is that your opinion as a scientist in the importance of data, or do you think that that's the legal standard?
I'm saying from a scientific standard, if you don't follow the procedures and the non-compliance with the procedures can greatly prejudice somebody who's facing incarceration,
sure,
that's a problem.
Okay. And so, but you're not, I'm still trying to ascertain exactly what you're saying. So you're not saying that it shouldn't be admitted, period, if it doesn't comply with Title 17, right?
I'm saying scientifically speaking, that's not something you would ever allow in a criminal trial.
Okay. But you're talking about from a scientific perspective, not a legal perspective,
Objection.
right? Because you're an expert, a DUI expert, right?
So just so we're clear, are you asking his opinion as to whether it should be admitted? And you're asking that the opinion is based on law or science?
Correct.
All right, so ask a
So
fresh,
do you believe
fresh brand
that-
new, single part question though, because questions do tend to be compound. It makes it harder
Do
for
you
the witness
believe
to
if
respond.
Title 17 isn't followed, then the pass device should not be admitted in accordance with law?
But technically, the past device results.
Yes, if the procedures that protect the person being tested from false positives or falsely high readings are not followed, scientifically speaking, that would not be good enough for criminal evidence.
Okay, but that's not the law, right?
The law is whatever the judge says you can let in to evidence, and it's different with every judge.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Okorocha. And you had stated that you did upwards of 75 DUI trials, right?
Yes.
And you were defense counsel on those, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you know that PAS devices, even if they're not following Title 17, that they can still be admitted for they're still admissible, but their weight is called into question, right?
Objection, relevance. We're discussing legal issues. If we want to continue with this line of questioning, Your Honor, ask that
we are segueing to the legal area, but since it was addressed by the witness, we'll correlate the question. If you understand it as phrased, it's really a question that's separate and apart from a scientific question. He's asking you technically if you believe, to quite understand, correct if it's wrong, that if a PAS device is not fully compliant with Title 17, that should be admitted, subject to weight, or your position is that it should not be admitted, period. Do you understand the question? From a legal
Yes.
standpoint. Although the legal standpoint may be based on science, but it's still the same question.
Your Honor,
So,
is he asking his personal opinion? Is he asking?
No, I was asking him in accordance with law.
no, well, but ultimately you're asking for an opinion on that subject. So
Yeah, you-
start a new question, Mr. Bowers. Try to keep it as lean and linear as possible, and we'll have the witness answer it.
Okay. Mr. Okorocha, did you understand what the judge's rephrasing of that question was?
Why don't you start a brand new question? So take the judge out of the equation.
Okay. I mean, you articulated it, I think, pretty
Right,
well, Your Honor.
but we want to have it repeated so the witness knows exactly what.
So, from a legal standpoint, and with doing over 75 jury trials, DUI jury trials,
Well, technically, I think he said DUI trial. Not sure if he said DUI jury trial.
Oh, they were jury trials.
Or jury trials. All right, court stands corrected.
and so is it your belief that the PAS test should be, its admissibility should be stricken, or its weight is what should be considered in the event that Title 17 isn't followed?
Legally speaking, unreliable evidence is not relevant. Relevance requires reliability. And if you're not following the rules to make the test reliable, it should not be evidence against somebody facing incarceration.
But that's not the law, right?
That's the law. Relevance requires reliability.
Not in PAS tests, right?
In any case, you have unreliable evidence shouldn't come in.
Okay, so, but we're talking specifically for the PAS device in accordance with Title 17.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
No, I don't think we need to approach, but I think you have to wrap this up, though. Ultimately,
move
asking
on,
for
Your Honor.
his opinion about a legal
I'll
matter.
move on, Your Honor. So, it also says that you're an expert in chemical analysis of blood. How many times have you tested blood?
Thousands.
And you analyze blood in a lab?
That's generally where you analyze blood, yes.
Have you ever analyzed blood via web calls?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what?
Web calls, like a web call?
What is a? Could you find for the witness what a web call is?
Like, for instance, like a Zoom meeting.
Test blood in a Zoom meeting?
Yeah. Have you ever analyzed it in a Zoom meeting?
But do you mean him doing the physical analysis and it's zoomed? What do you mean by Zoom meeting?
My question is has somebody ever assisted you in analyzing blood via a Zoom call or some other type of virtual video conference?
Objection, vague,
Do
relevant.
you understand the question, Ms. Fraser?
I think so, but I have no idea what that would be. I've never heard of that.
So the
Anyway.
amount of times that you've tested blood has all been in the lab, right?
Yes, that's where you test blood.
Okay. And so it also says you're an expert in field sobriety tests, but you weren't certified in their administration, right?
I took the police student course, the police instructor course, and I had a full semester graduate level education course on the neurophysiology behind the field sobriety tests, which is what you need to know to evaluate them. The police tests are useless because those are just the procedures and what they need to write down.
So it's useless even depending on officers' expertise or their experience in the field?
No, they're useless as far as understanding the neurophysiology and what is going on when the person is attempting to do these tests.
Do you need to understand the neurophysiology to determine if somebody potentially is impaired?
That it completely depends on what circumstances is the person falling over, smells like alcohol and vomiting, or I mean, I don't know. You probably wouldn't need the neurophysiology there, but it really depends on the person.
Okay. So how many field sobriety tests have you performed personally?
What you mean the test was on him
Yes.
or him?
Oh, on me?
him.
Oh, probably they've probably done 100. I don't know,
Okay. And how many have you administered?
thousands.
Thousands.
Yes.
Okay. And in what context did you administer those field sobriety tests?
When I lecture and teach for many organizations, California and national organizations.
When's the last time you taught?
June or July.
Okay. And so you do that maybe twice a year?
I only go depending if they're going to a nice city, then I'll go do it. But if they're going to Cleveland, I just no, thank you.
And you believe that field sobriety tests are unreliable to determine impairment, correct?
No, I'm saying the government, NHTSA says they're unreliable when determining, they don't determine impairment. You know, if the government says it, it must be true.
So do you not believe that?
I'm going by what NHTSA said. They developed the test. They said they don't determine impairment.
Sir, but I'm asking your opinion.
You're asking me if the field sobriety test can determine any kind of impairment in anybody?
Yeah.
Using what protocols or just administering them? I don't understand.
The standard field sobriety tests. Is there, I mean, in your background, when you administer them, right, could you determine if somebody was impaired?
Impaired as in, does that mean blood alcohol level, or they shouldn't be driving, or?
They shouldn't be driving.
That'd be really hard for me to tell because usually don't have somebody go and drive after something like that. I don't know if I could tell if someone could have driven or not. I don't know.
Okay. And so is that, so you're not citing to a study when you say that FSTs are not reliable in determining impairment, you're referencing NHTSA, right?
That's what they say. And if you want to talk about scientific studies, those say that they have a 50% false positive, which is worse than guessing.
Can you tell me a little bit about one of those studies?
Sure. It's by Cole and Nowacek out of Clemson University, and it's called Field Sobriety Tests. Are they designed for failure?
Okay. And you're familiar with that study, right?
I've read it many times.
How many officers were used in that study?
I don't recall those.
Okay. Can you explain how the study was performed?
Yes. They had individuals performing the field sobriety tests, and they had them on video, and they were administered by trained officers, and then they had the other trained officers watch the video and determine who was too impaired to drive. And the officers thought half the people were too impaired to drive, but no one had any drugs or alcohol in their system whatsoever.
Do you know how many people or how many FSTs were performed in that study?
No.
So you can't recall how many individuals were used as subjects?
I read over 50 papers a week. I don't memorize certain numbers on certain papers.
I understand, sir. Can you explain, or excuse me, do you know how many FSTs were performed and by how many people?
Objection, asked and answered.
Yeah, it is really asked and answered. Excuse me, I'll strike that. Do you recall if any of those officers who were conducting, or not conducting the training, but observing the FSTs, if they were A-RIDE certified?
I don't even know if A-RIDE was around back when they were doing those. I don't know, but they were fully trained on field sobriety tests.
Okay, and do you know their expertise or their years in service?
That's not something I would memorize.
Okay, so is it your testimony today that you don't know exactly what the officer's qualifications were?
No, they were fully qualified and trained in field sobriety tests.
When was that test done?
I don't remember.
But you said that it was kind of older, right? You don't know if A-RIDE was around?
Well, I mean, I don't mean older like 1930, but I don't know. I don't know when it was from.
Okay. So your CV also